Hey everyone, I'm Wes O'Donnell, veteran of the U.S. Army and the U.S. Air Force, and proud graduate of American Military University. Welcome to this week's episode of the SitRep, curated from some of our favorite news sources like Defense News, Military.com, and Military Times. Let's dive in. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah killed in Israeli airstrike. We begin with major news out of the Middle East. Hezbollah, the powerful Lebanese militant group, confirmed the death of its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, in an Israeli airstrike last Friday. Nasrallah led Hezbollah for over 3 decades, transforming it into one of the most formidable non-state actors in the region. The airstrike, which targeted Hezbollah's leadership in Beirut, killed several high-ranking commanders and escalated tensions across Lebanon and Israel. Hezbollah and its allies, including Iran, have vowed retaliation, raising fears of further conflict in the region. Israel has committed to continuing its operations to neutralize Hezbollah's military capabilities, especially in light of its ongoing attacks from Lebanon into northern Israel. This development could mark a turning point in the years-long hostilities between Hezbollah and Israel, with both sides preparing for potential escalation in the coming weeks. Next, U.S.-led task force to combat ISIS in Iraq to end by 2026. In other significant news, U.S. military officials announced that the multinational coalition fighting ISIS in Iraq set to disband in 2026 after a decade of operations. The U.S.-led task force has made significant progress in dismantling ISIS's territorial control, but the group's ability to conduct insurgent attacks remains a challenge. This phased withdrawal reflects the broader shift in U.S. military strategy toward focusing on great power competition, particularly with China and Russia. The end of this mission raises questions about the future of Iraq's stability and the Iraqi security forces' ability to manage the ongoing threat posed by ISIS remnants. The transition of security responsibilities to Iraqi forces will be critical in determining whether ISIS can stage a resurgence in the post-coalition era. Major overhaul in Marine Corps marksmanship training. Next up, the U.S. Marine Corps is implementing its most significant change to marksmanship training in over a century. The new system, set to be rolled out across the Corps, will fundamentally shift how Marines approach combat shooting. Instead of focusing solely on static, long-range shooting, Marines will now be tested on their ability to move, shoot, and engage targets in more dynamic and realistic combat scenarios. This overhaul is designed to enhance the speed, accuracy, and mobility of Marines in real-world environments, particularly in urban and contested battlefields. The infantry will be the first to undergo this new training regimen, which could redefine the marksmanship standards across the military. Next up, military bases assess damage from Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene made landfall as a Category 4 storm in Florida, causing extensive damage to military bases throughout the southeastern United States. The hurricane brought destructive winds, severe flooding, and storm surges, leaving bases like Eglin Air Force Base and Naval Station Mayport assessing the full scope of damage. While emergency response teams were quick to respond, the impact on critical infrastructure has disrupted operations and will likely require significant rebuilding efforts. This is another stark reminder of the increasing threat of climate-related disasters on military readiness, particularly in coastal regions. Lawmakers demand answers over faulty Navy ship welding. Finally, lawmakers are seeking accountability from the U.S. Navy after reports surfaced of faulty welds on submarines and aircraft carriers under construction at Newport News Shipbuilding. Allegations suggest that welders may have knowingly produced substandard work, putting billions of dollars in naval assets at risk. This revelation has sparked a congressional inquiry, as faulty welds could have catastrophic consequences for national security. The Navy has vowed to conduct a thorough investigation, but the incident has raised concerns about quality control and oversight within military contracting. And that's a wrap for this week's top military stories. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. And as always, I'm Wes O'Donnell. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Stay frosty. See you next week.